Okay, so the Winter Olympics, they're getting a huge makeover. The Milan Cortina 2026 games are basically tearing up the old rule book. And what they're attempting? Well, it could literally save the future of the Olympics or, become this spectacular, super expensive failure. Let's get into it.
So you gotta ask, right? Why the big change? Why tear up the playbook? Well, for a while now, the line of cities eager to host the games has been getting shorter and shorter. The glamour's kind of worn off, and it's been replaced by a pretty simple and honestly terrifying question for taxpayers. Is this whole thing even worth the massive price tag?
And yeah, that cost? It's the absolute core of what we're calling the Olympic hosting crisis. It's a problem that's really been snowballing for decades, leaving behind this trail of debt and, well, a lot of empty buildings.
At the heart of it all are two phrases you hear a lot: gigantism and white elephants. Think about it. For years, cities were basically expected to build these gigantic, super specialized stadiums for, 2 weeks of glory? And then they just watched them sit empty, maybe even decaying for years after. The cost for that kind of temporary fame, it's just gotten way too high.
So with cities dropping like flies, the Olympic Committee was kind of staring down the barrel of an extinction event. They needed a new plan, fast. And that's where Milan Cortina 2026 comes in, with its totally radical new model for how to do this.
So what exactly is a decentralized Olympics? Well, first thing, throw out everything you think you know about a single host city. This is an event that's spread out across an entire region, and the whole idea is to use world-class venues that are already there, instead of building shiny new ones from the ground up. And look at this. This chart just says it all. A whopping 93% of the spots for the 2026 games, they're either already built or they're going to be temporary. So this isn't some small adjustment. It is a massive philosophical shift designed specifically to avoid creating those white elephants we were just talking about.
And when I say this thing is spread out, I am not kidding. The games are going to cover over 22,000 square kilometers of northern Italy. I mean, that's a bigger area than some entire countries. This is the Olympics on a geographical scale we have just never, ever seen before.
Okay, so how on earth do you manage an event that's that big, with venues that are hundreds of kilometers apart? Well, the answer, in a word, is technology. It's the digital glue that's supposed to hold this entire sprawling experiment together.
It really comes down to 3 key pieces. First, you organize all the sports into 4 different geographical clusters. Second, you connect all of them to one single cloud-based brain that basically runs the whole show from a distance. And third, you have to rely on a huge, perfectly coordinated transport network to get everybody where they need to go.
And this quote, it just nails it. A unified digital nervous system. It's perfect, right? Because there isn't some massive physical command center at every single venue. Instead, you have this digital nervous system running in the cloud that's going to manage literally everything, from the race times and results to security and event schedules, all from one central hub.
And this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea either. It's being built by some of the biggest players in tech. You've got Alibaba handling the mission-critical cloud infrastructure. That's the digital space where all this data is going to live and breathe. Then there's Deloitte. Their huge job is the digital integration, making sure every single piece of tech talks to every other piece seamlessly. And of course, Omega, a name you always see at the Olympics, is bringing in their next-gen timing systems to make sure every single fraction of a second is captured perfectly, whether an athlete is in a stadium in Milan or on top of a remote mountain.
Okay, so from a budget and logistics point of view, this sounds pretty smart. But what's it actually going to feel like for the people who are there? The fans, the athletes?
And this really shows you the new reality. Your entire Olympic experience is pretty much defined by which cluster you decide to visit. You could be in Milan, soaking up the city life, watching some ice hockey, or you could be in the incredible Dolomites, watching skiing, but that's a 5-hour-plus trip from Milan. The days of just hopping on a subway to get from the swimming to the gymnastics, yeah, those are over. The whole idea of a central Olympic park is just gone.
And this changes everything. I mean, for the athletes, that classic Olympic Village experience, that amazing place where everyone from every country comes together, it's kind of fractured. The hockey players in Milan might never even meet the skiers in Cortina. That's a huge shift. But here's the flip side. For the people who actually live there, the legacy isn't some empty stadium. It's real stuff, It's tangible, long-term upgrades like high-speed internet and better train lines that are going to help those remote mountain towns long after the last medal is won. It's a trade-off, really. A more divided Olympic experience for a more useful local legacy.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Pulling this off is a huge gamble.
Because while this new model fixes a lot of the old problems, it also creates a whole new list of really high-stakes risks.
So you have to wonder, with all these moving parts spread over this insane area, what are the biggest ways this could all fall apart?
I mean, think about it. What happens if a big snowstorm shuts down a key mountain pass? An entire venue could just be cut off. And what about that famous Olympic spirit? Can it even exist when it's stretched so thin across thousands of square kilometers? And maybe the scariest part, with one digital brain running the whole show, that brain becomes this one giant glowing target for a cyber attack. One hack could bring the entire games to a standstill.
So it all comes down to this one final question. Is this the smart, sustainable future of the Olympics? A model that could let smaller regions, not just megacities, get in on the action? Or is it just a beautiful idea on paper that's way too complicated, way too risky, and just too spread out to actually work? Well, I guess we'll all be watching in 2026 to find out.